So we already checked out the new Pixel 8 Pro. Now we're looking at the smaller, regular Pixel 8. Luckily, Google sent over the Pro version to review on the channel. I had to pay for this one though. This one starts out at $699 in the United States, but I'll leave a link down below with current pricing and more information. It comes in 3 different colors, rose, obsidian, and the one shown here is hazel. You've got the option of 128 gigabytes of storage, or for about $60 more, you can get 256. Also has wireless charging. Okay, I really like the color of this. Definitely a grayish green color in person. Then a matte silver camera bar there instead of the chrome version on the Pro model. Inside the box, you've got your USB-C to USB-C charging cable, USB-A to USB-C adapter, and of course your quick start guide, safety and warranty information, and SIM card removal tool. I really like the matte finish here that continues from the camera bar and goes around the edges. Just looks really nice in my opinion. Power and volume buttons are there on the right hand side, SIM card tray on the left, charging port and speaker on the bottom. I don't know, I might like the look of this better than the Pro version. If you look real close, there is just a hint along the edges where it's curved. You get a smaller 6.2 inch OLED display with 1080 by 2400 resolution versus a 6.7 inch on the 8 Pro, up to 1400 nits brightness, 2000 nits peak brightness, so not quite as bright as the Pro model, but still pretty good in my opinion. It also has up to 120 Hz refresh rate. To me, the screen quality looks really nice in person, has good contrast, pretty good viewing angles, and I feel like the screen's gonna be plenty bright enough for most people. Just comparing this to the Pixel 7, the phone itself is a little bit smaller, the screen's a little brighter. You'll also notice it's a little less bezel down here at the bottom, more curved on the edges, just a little bit more comfortable in the hand. I feel like it's a little bit more refined, and here's just a size comparison next to the 8 Pro and the 7. Nice thing is, besides having the fingerprint scanner, you also have Face ID, and the fingerprint scanner seems a little better this time around, although I still feel like it's a little bit slower or not quite as reliable as on some of my Samsung phones. It comes with swipe to navigate as default, but obviously you can switch it to 3-button navigation in the settings. Pretty nice wallpaper here, matches the back of the phone. And of course, all the apps are just the ones from Google, so they don't add a lot of extra stuff. Software-wise, this is on Android 14. Hard to imagine, but yes, this one also gets 7 years of software and security updates, which is kind of crazy. That's even more than what Apple advertises. Now, to me, Android 14 isn't that much different than Android 13, and this phone's gonna feel very similar to the previous Pixel 7 series. Left of the home screen, you got the Google Discover newsfeed. As far as storage goes, it's using 8.7 gigabytes of the 128 available. Up in the notification shade, you've got pretty much everything you would need, like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, flashlight, do not disturb, alarm, airplane mode, device control, auto rotate, QR code scanner, battery saver, screen record, screencast, nearby share, mic and camera access, security and privacy. And then if you tap the little pencil, there's a ton of stuff to add in here, like battery share, extra dim, hotspot, location, storage, calculator, bedtime mode, VPN, and live transcribe. You'll notice if you go into settings under display, you've got smooth display, where you can switch it from 60 to 120 Hz refresh rate. Just something I thought I would point out. It looks like it is on 60 Hz by default. That's also where you can switch between gesture and 3-button navigation as well. Now, the screen itself might look like it's flashing a little bit in this video. It doesn't actually do that in person. That's just my camera. It usually struggles with OLED and AMOLED displays. Performance-wise, you can see the Geekbench scores pretty close to the Pro version, just a little bit less on single core and multi-core score, but then surprisingly it's just a little bit higher on the GPU score, and a nice bump up in performance compared to the Pixel 7. A little less RAM on this one, you only get 8 versus 12 on the Pro. Also has the Google Tensor G3 processor. Just testing out PUBG Mobile on extreme frame rates and HDR graphics. Everything seems to run fairly smooth on here. It does get a little warm after a while. Everything seems to run fairly smooth on here in my my testing. Same thing with Asphalt 9. I think most people will enjoy gaming on here, although the camera bar or bump on the back can get in the way at times. I feel like this phone has plenty of power to do some multitasking, and you should be able to do just about anything you would need to. I'm just a little curious to see how it holds up over time, although then again, I doubt there's going to be very many people watching this that's going to be using the same phone 7 years later. Now, one downside to that camera bump or visor there in the back, it doesn't really fit my Razer controller too good, although I guess technically you could still play it like that. Not really ideal though. It also has a little bit smaller battery, 4,575 milliamp hours. I went ahead and ran my typical battery drain test, and this one lasted a little less than the Pixel 7 at 11 hours. So plenty of power to get you through the day, or maybe 2 days, especially if you turn the screen brightness down. The speakers on here aren't going to be the loudest out there, but still pretty decent for a smaller phone like this. Here's a quick sample just to give you an idea of what it sounds like. You won't get the telephoto camera on this one, but it does have a 50 megapixel wide angle main lens and a 12 megapixel ultra wide lens there on the back. It has the same 10.5 megapixel selfie camera as the Pro model. Now the weird thing is, if you go into the photo app, I don't see any editing tools that you have on the Pro model. It just says editing tools will be installed soon. Check back later. So I'm not sure how much longer before they add in all the extras, but usually Google is pretty good about their updates. In the camera app, you've got Action Pan, which I've already tried out on the 8 Pro. It actually works really good. I'll try to put a sample in here. You also have long exposure, where it's gonna have that blur effect for things that move. Usually does look pretty good with water. Then you've got portrait, photo, night sight, and panorama. Another thing you'll notice is they put a lot of shortcuts here for the photos, but then you can switch it over to video, and then you have different things to choose from, like cinematic pan. You also have cinematic blur as well, which is basically like portrait mode for video. Then you have video at 0.5x, 1x, 2x. The nice thing is you can go up to 4K 60 frames per second for video recording, slow motion, and time lapse as well. Here's a few quick samples of photo and video, just to give you an idea of what to expect from the new Pixel 8. Not sure if you can tell from these samples, but you can get some really good results from Pixel phones, and it's no different with this one. Even though some of the other Android companies are getting better with their cameras, I still feel like Pixels are the ones to beat, especially in photography, although Samsung is pretty close. You'll also notice the cameras automatically switch to macro mode as you move closer to objects and while taking photos. I also tried to record my dog playing using the cinematic pan, which turned out okay. I'll probably use this for close-up product shots more than anything, but definitely a nice feature to have. So hopefully this video gave you a little closer look at the new Pixel 8. It's gonna feel very similar to the Pro version, just smaller and easier to handle. I'll probably be doing a couple comparisons with this phone. Good thing is you've got a lot of the same features on the regular Pixel 8 versus the Pro, so I could see a lot of people choosing this one, especially considering how much you can save. So if you like phone and tablet comparisons, I'm working on quite a few right now. Plus I've got several cases that I'll be doing a video on for this phone as well. So you'll want to keep an eye out for those upcoming videos. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.